who you are, the work that you do. I'm sure people would love to know a little bit more about it, and then we can dive in.
Sure. Well, like you said, Mark Casto, I'm here in Mobile, Alabama. My family and I just transitioned from the Atlanta, Georgia area here to Mobile. And so I've spent 20 years in full time ministry as like a pastor or evangelist. And about 2 years ago, we experienced a fire that displaced us from our church building. And, and man, it really brought us to our knees because a year prior to that, we lost our salary, was lost our home, and then a
Right.
year later, after rebuilding from that, then had the church fire, and we were like, "Man, this keeps getting worse. Like the trajectory
Right.
is not good right now."
Yeah.
And so I was really praying about what the next step was. Had a friend after church tell us, "Hey, I really feel like you're supposed to reconnect with this person." I hadn't talked to this person since like 2015, so it had been like 8 years since I'd even seen her talk to this person. And they
Wow.
had taken a journey from full time ministry to entrepreneur, like into an entrepreneurial endeavor, into
Right.
the digital product space, into digital marketing. And so when I reconnected with this friend, I literally made an investment to go into their program. It opened up this whole world of digital products to me, and I jumped in. I'm the type of person that I just jump all the way into whatever I'm doing. I don't
Yeah.
even maybe even have all the answers. I just with courage jump into it. And so we got in the middle of that right after the church fire, and I knew that I could no longer live off of the generosity of other people as a pastor, that it was
Right.
time for me to actually create real wealth for my family. And I found that through
Yeah.
the digital product space. And so, what we're doing now, Ruben, is we're helping faith based 9 to 5ers
Yeah.
basically work their way out of a job by taking their wisdom, knowledge, and experience and translating that into digital product business.
Right. Awesome. I love that. And that's, I mean, such a crazy story. And it's weird how sometimes the pathway goes. You don't understand why and where and what, like when, all of that stuff. But it's really cool to see your journey of all of this. Now, I know for a lot of people, I love to actually ask the question of why did you decide to not only invest in yourself once to learn about the digital marketing and the digital products, but also like why did you decide to like keep on getting mentorship? Because for just so you know, for some people, it's not the natural thing to ask for help to like get their goals going. So, what kind of inside of you caused you to say, like, you know what, this is actually the way that I want to go?
Well, I can tell you this. I know the power of mentorship. I know the power of fathers in my life, people,
Right.
voices, people that have fathered me, whether it was in the faith, which is the primary world that I came out of.
Yeah.
Their willingness to walk with me always elevated my life. And so, if that's true in the spiritual sense, I know that's got to be true in the business sense. And so, when I made my investment, my first investment into coaching, I literally pulled money from like 3 different accounts and did everything but start an OnlyFans to get the money to do a $10,000 investment
Yeah.
into a program, which was huge for me, right? And
Yeah.
so but I made the investment and just believing that something great was going to come out of it. Once I got the plan in place, I did $30,000 in my first 90 days. And so I
Wow.
basically created a $10,000 business. Um, yeah, a $10,000 a month business, 90 days out the gate of putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together. And so like I saw the result. I knew that it was there. And I knew that if I was going to continue to upgrade my business, my life, it was going to have to take mentorship. And matter of fact, the man that I first gave that $10,000 to
Yeah.
join their program, he had spent that year $2.6 million dollars on coaching himself.
Right.
And so, like, I was invested in a coach who was highly invested into his coaches. And I
Love
saw
that.
that every time he made an investment to upgrade his business through a coach, it would upgrade his business as well. And so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so I made that $10,000 investment. I hope I don't jump ahead of you when I say this, but like I was so thankful. The first coach got me to where I was, but didn't prepare me for November, December. And so
Yeah.
when I got to November, December, I was at a place of making no sales. I was at a place where I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And I
Yeah.
literally had $1,500 in my bank account and was like, okay, this is where we're at. I don't know what to do. I've reached this place of like nobody's buying. I don't know how to really operate this like a business. I feel like
Yeah.
I've reached as many people as I can with my current audience, and I was just kind of at a loss. And in comes Ruben with his content, which I thought was super helpful. He started talking about the business and the possibilities.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm on a phone call with Ruben talking about how, oh my God, this started off really great, but now I'm at a place where I don't know what to do.
100%. No, and that's totally fine for skipping ahead. Like we're getting to the meat of the story here because I think the thing that we often don't share, and I actually made a reel about this morning, we often don't share about the middle part, the hard part, right? A lot of times we share about like the start of our journey and like the end, right? But we
Yeah.
forget to talk about the middle. I feel like you came to CCI to work with us kind of in your middle, right? Where you're like, hey, I've made some money, I've grown a following, but like things aren't really where I want them to be. I want them to be here. What's next? So maybe share with people a couple of the things that you felt like maybe weren't going so well in the business so that we can then kind of walk through a little bit of like what strategies did we start to see that we needed to implement. So like let's start there maybe.
Yeah. So I think in the eyes of a lot of people, Ruben, they would have looked at my online business as a huge success because I had one video go viral last year that went to 26 million people. And I grew from 3,800 followers on Instagram to like 198,000 in like a matter of like a month. And it was
Yeah.
wild. But here's what I learned. Even a viral video
Mhm.
like didn't change the course of my business. It actually
Yeah.
it was an Instagram hack that took off, and then I had all of these people. I'll just go ahead and share the ugly side of things. Sometimes I hired this company to help me with my social media, and so basically what they would do was take my knowledge, put it into scripts that could be done as reels, talking head reels on Instagram. And then they would post these reels and they said within 90 days, like, we'll help you go viral. And so it was like day 67 when that video went viral. Here's the part that company didn't tell me though, was that I didn't realize it. This is on me because I wasn't tracking. I just trusted them in the process. But
Mhm.
they started boosting my posts to like Africa and India and these third world countries that could not pay for my high ticket offer. And so
Right.
now I've got about 150,000 followers who are not my ideal client, who are not
Mhm.
my ideal customer avatar that could even be helped by what I actually do. So I had a bunch of discovery calls where people are jumping in and asking me about social media. And I'm like, social media is just one aspect of what I do. We have
Yeah.
we're teaching people how to create digital products. So
Yeah.
a viral video in some cases can change your life, but but in most ways, if I'm being honest, I've talked to so many people who have went viral and it did nothing for their business.
Yeah.
And so I came to you as somebody that, yes, I was in the middle, but I was also at the bottom. And so
Yeah, the middle of the story, but maybe a bit of a rock bottom.
yeah.
Rock bottom
So
middle.
like I've got all of these followers,
Yeah.
but now I'm in November, December where everybody's focused on the holidays, buying gifts, doing all the things, and nobody prepared me for that. And so
Yeah.
I would say that the first coach I had did a great job of giving me a 30,000 foot view of the business.
Mhm.
But once I had kind of reached that big picture idea of what the digital product business is, I
Yeah.
realized I didn't know what it takes on. I realized I didn't know what it took on the day to day to keep that business flowing, and
For sure.
that's where
Yeah.
you enter the story.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And by the way, you can get as specific as you want here. Like this is like a no secrets live kind of video. So you've been working with obviously the specialist on my team, Candace, and
Yes.
talk people through a little bit of maybe some of the things that you and Candace have been implementing to number one, generate good quality leads. And number two, to just have like some consistency with the business, no matter if we have a viral video or not.
Sure, sure. Well, just to give kudos to you, because I can talk about Candace and how helpful she's been for sure, and I'm going to do that. But Ruben really started creating content that showed me like, hey, there's some day to day stuff that I'm missing here, and started giving some really good content. Next thing I know, I like comment on something and just really started following you, Ruben, and you did a
Mm,
fantastic job of making it personal. And so I want to say kudos to you, because I feel like there's so much automation in our world that when people get somebody that actually shows up and actually, like, you can hear their voice and you know that they're talking directly to you and it's not just copy and paste mini chat, like
yeah.
that means a lot. And so one of the reasons why I came into CCI was because Ruben was relational. And I had tons of people that reached out to want to work with me and pitch their stuff, but it was all automation and all that. And if there's anything that I could say about what really brought me into CCI was the relational aspect, Ruben, that you brought. It was the practicals of your social media, of the day to day operations, but it was also the fact that you're super relational. So I appreciate you for being that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
But then comes Candace, which, so when I got into the program, Candace became my coach to walk me through all of this. And I think the biggest thing that I needed in all of this was I was creating content and I had an offer, and again, I probably had that 30,000 foot view, but I needed somebody to take me into the nitty gritty of what it looks like day in and day out to run a business. And so, like, and I'm not 100% perfect at any of these things. I'm not going to try to act like I am. Like Ruben and Candace both can tell you, I'm terrible at tracking. I'm terrible at, like, there's so many things that they've asked me to stay consistent in. Some things I've done really well, some things I haven't. The tracking has been a hard part, and I think I'm not trying to make excuses. I think it's just hard sometimes when you're dealing with 190 some thousand people on Instagram and other platforms. I'm starting to dial in that process now. But
Yeah.
when Candace came in, it was really the first thing was realizing that my message was too broad and we really needed to master the messaging
Yeah.
and really get into, like she told me, she was like, the reason why you have all these people coming into your Instagram, but very few coming into your actual product is messaging. And so the very first thing that we jumped into was we've got to really master the messaging and our talking points of talking to your ideal customer. And I was making content that was helpful in a lot of ways for digital marketing and how to grow on social and those type of things, but I wasn't really speaking to my ideal customer in a specific way to their pain points, to their ambitions, to their goals. And so one of the first things that Candace did was make me clean up my messaging. That was huge. Um, second part to that was not only the messaging, but it was actually like this, and this has been super helpful. I
Mm,
feel like a lot of times, especially with a guy like me, that I was in the ministry world, and this here I'm a pastor. Here's my spiritual life, and then here now I'm starting this new thing as a business. I started compartmentalizing. And so I'm like, okay, here's Mark Casto as a pastor, preacher, evangelist, whatever. And then over here is my business. And I compartmentalized the two. And I think that when you compartmentalize your life and keep certain things from social media, there's a level of connection that you can't get unless you bring your full self into social media. And so one of the things that I think Candace also helped me with was really bringing my whole self to the business, not hiding the fact that I had been in the ministry, that I was a pastor that led this successful ministry. And then we experienced tragedy, and then like bringing my whole self. And then when that part of authenticity started to come through in my content,
mm,
stuff started happening for real in my business. That's when more
yeah.
leads started coming in, more calls started coming in, more money started being made. And so the messaging and then showing up as an authentic messenger
Right.
has changed the whole thing. And then as far as like a practical side of all that, because the messaging, the authenticity piece is huge, and it's bigger than what I'm even have time to share today.
Sure.
But the third thing is the DMOs. And that is what became the game changer is, Mark, this, if you're going to have a business, you have to treat this as a business. And I was the type of guy, I'm creating content, I'm jumping on calls, and I'm hoping with my sales.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what Candace and CCI was able to help me do was to get into a place of operating like an actual business owner, tracking leads, following up with leads, booking calls, pre-sale
mhm,
processes. Like one of the biggest game changers was you telling me, Mark, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get on social media and I want you to personally send a message to every single person who interacts and engages with your post.
yeah,
Well, that seems like common sense to me now, but something I totally overlooked back then. It's like, and that was a game changer for me. You and Candace both were like, you realize, Mark, every person who likes a post or comments on a post is a
yeah,
lead. And I didn't see it that way. It's like I'm over here working on people that may have asked for a free ebook or something like that while I'm missing hundreds of leads right there in my social media. And so I think that you all putting me in the mindset of here's my DMOs, here's my daily mode of operation, here's the things I've got to do, following up. And you said, Mark, I want you to do at least 50 a day. And when
mhm.
I started hitting those numbers of contacting 50 people a day, that's when it's my business started really climbing.
100%. Well, it's actually, and I actually was watching a video the other day from Alex Hormozy, who a lot of people in our space know. And he's like, if you're a beginner, and his numbers where he said, if you send 100 messages a day for 100 days, I guarantee you'll get a client, he says. And the truth is just most people, and I like how you're talking about this, Mark. You're saying like now we're treating it like a business because I see too many people treating their businesses like hobbies. They're not actually thinking tactically. They're not actually putting some real effort and intentionality behind it. And all these things that you're talking about, yeah, in retrospect, make a lot of sense. Like having a follow up system, having a daily method of operation, generating leads daily, having a pre sales system, or whatever. Like all of these things, when you like know about them, it's like, well, yeah, I should be doing that. But so many people aren't. And I'm actually curious from a mindset level now when you're viewing your business, do you feel like you almost take things more seriously now, or like how has your mindset shifted with this?
Well, I can tell you the biggest mindset shift for me was that intentionality is where
Mm,
you begin to prosper. And I realized that I was taking things that I thought were that important because I didn't enjoy tracking and I didn't enjoy follow up. There certain things that I wasn't being intentional about that was actually the reason why my business wasn't prospering. And so, like,
yeah,
if I could say anything, it's like, you know, remember that there is a person behind every like, and there is
yeah,
a person behind every comment, and all of those people are leads. And if you'll be intentional with those people, that's how you're going to actually have a business. So I feel like, yeah, 100%. I take a lot of what I do more seriously, and I don't think that I did it out of a place of I didn't take my business serious. I
mm,
honestly just needed a coach to tell me the things to get intentional about. And
yeah,
again, like I said, I feel like nothing wrong with the first coach that I had because they're what brought me into this space and made me open to the idea. But when I came to you guys, it was like, okay, I've had this 30,000 foot view, but that's not actually how this works. And it's like it's one
mm,
thing, you know this, Ruben, because you're a hiker. You do the scariest videos in the world. When like I see you up on top of a mountain that looks like if you fell off, we won't have Ruben anymore, but he's up there running. And it's like the deal is, man, I fly a lot in a plane. I can get up there and tell you what that mountain looks like, okay, at a 30,000 foot view. But Ruben can actually tell you what the terrain's like because he's hiked it. And so, like, I feel like what if I could sum up like what CCI has done for me is like it took my 30,000 foot view and you guys showed me what the terrain was actually like and how to navigate this mountain called online business. And
yeah,
so like it's been super helpful for me and yes, definitely caused me to take um like things that I just overlooked, things
yeah,
that I didn't know what to pay attention to that were essential for my business and taught me how to get even more intentional. And that intentionality in the little things has been they always say big doors open on small hinges. And you guys
Mhm.
showed me what those small hinges were. And now the doors, they do what they're supposed to do. So it's been
Yeah,
amazing.
100%. No, that's great. And you gave me a new metaphor to use, so that's fantastic. People have the view from the plane, but I'll take them onto the mountain. I like that. I'm going to use that one. No, but and this makes so much sense to me because at the end of the day, like, yeah, a lot of the stuff that we're teaching people, it's not rocket science, but it is just like too many people in your situation when times kind of get a little bit hard and they get tough because you've been through some hard stuff, not
Mhm.
obviously like as an entrepreneur, like a lot of people kind of give up and quit, but you decided to push through it, which
Yeah.
I mean, I have to just say, like, super proud of you for doing that because
Thank you.
so many people give up, and like you decided that the basically the journey that you're on, it was worthwhile to keep on going. So,
Yeah.
so what's next for you? I mean, I know you and Candace are probably cooking up some bigger goals, but what's some of the next goals that you're wanting to hit?
Oh man, well, I just had my first 20K plus month here recently, so I'm super thankful for that. Like actually cash brought in, not
Yeah.
just like contracted, which was amazing. But the next goal for me is I want to consistently be at that 30K,
Mm,
30K a month. And I got to back up and say this though, Ruben. I was just thinking about this when
mm.
you came into my world. I had $1,500 in the bank account, and you were like, and I told you, I was like, this is all I got, Ruben. This is all I have. And like, I don't know anything else to do but invest in a program. And I gave you the last $1,500 that I made. And it's been the best decision that I possibly could have made. And so, man, thank you for taking a guy that couldn't pay in full at the
Yeah.
time, put me on a plan and get me started in the program. It's been so worth it. But yeah, man, I mean, now that we're past some of that, like the goal is I want that 30K a month. And then once we get to 30K, I want to build uh, do a couple of essential hires. I've been talking to Candace a little bit about maybe a couple essential pieces to take me to the 50K mark. And
Yeah.
so we're somewhere in between of like, okay, next step is 30K consistently, but I guess
Mhm.
30K doesn't seem that far away anymore. So maybe 50K is what I'm actually leaning more towards.
Oh, I like that. And that's a smart path. Like, get yourself some extra cushions, see the consistency, and then I think you and Candace have a perfect plan. Like, okay, let's make some essential hires because when you're doing consistent 30K months, you usually have some cushion, plus you're getting really busy, right?
Yeah,
And actually, I mean, I did an interview, this was probably a month ago, with one of my other clients who we helped go from like 30K months to 60K months. And a massive part of that was a couple hires, right? It actually
yeah,
wasn't even like a different social media strategy. It was just like make some hires so that you have more time to put on the right activities and other things are happening without you, right?
that's
So
right.
no, I like that. Maybe in another 6 months we should have a conversation once you're at 50K months. How does that sound?
Yeah, man, it's great. It's great. But yeah, thank you, Ruben, for everything you guys have done. And Candace has been a godsend. I mean, just like I said, I could probably do a whole episode on just what I've learned from her in the authenticity standpoint.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, man, everybody, I say this all the time, and it's like a nugget that I want to throw out there is everybody has a frequency.
Yeah.
But when we compartmentalize ourselves, we're not able to bring the fullness of that authenticity to what we do, whether it's social media or if it's a VSL that you're creating, or even you messaging people in the DMs. Like, if you're not bringing your most authentic self, there's a part of you that fails to fully resonate with the people you're trying to reach. And the greatest gift
Mhm.
that you could give to the people who follow you online is bringing your whole self to the table. Because at the end of the day, they're not buying a product; they're buying you. They're invested in you. And so Candace showing me how to bring my full authentic self and really help my business align with who I really am has been a game changer in all this.
Percent. No, and that's why, I mean, when people join our program, I mean, that's the whole idea behind it is that we're pairing them up with people who we feel like would be a good fit, right? That's why we have our team of specialists to make sure that you have someone who on an energy standpoint aligns with you, but also strategically can help you, right? So no, I'm super proud of you, brother, and I know that you've been putting in hard work. I know you and your family have, yeah, had to go through some moves and different things over the last little bit. So like, I know life has been stressful, but the results are coming. They're seeing them being paid off, and now it's time to build on top of things.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of you. And folks, yeah, if you have any questions, I mean, you can throw them down below in the comments. But I mean, give a hand to Mark because here's the thing. Most people, I think, as entrepreneurs don't get enough claps. They don't have enough people cheering them on because a lot of the work you do goes unnoticed, right? Basically, it's like people don't notice until you're like in this amazing place, but you're putting in a lot of hard work right now. So proud of you for that. And yeah, thanks for jumping on today, brother. I really
Oh
appreciate it.
man, my honor, and thank you for having me in the program and for highlighting my story. I hope it's super beneficial for other people.
Awesome. Awesome, folks. Well, we're going to be ending the live because I know Mark's a busy guy and he probably has some other stuff he needs to get to today. But, folks, thanks for jumping on the live. If you got questions, throw them down below. And we'll see you in the next one. I think we're hosting another one next week, I believe, with another person who's doing around 20K a month. So if you want to come to the one for next week, just send me a message. And there we go, folks. We'll be ending the live and have a great rest of your day.